Okay, what is up everyone, and welcome to this new Blender video series that I'm doing on rigging characters. Now before I start, I would like to address this isn't going to be really a tutorial series in the traditional sense. This is very much unplanned, and I'm just kind of going at it off the cuff. Really what it is it's me taking what I've learned about rigging in Blender, rigging characters and all the different tools and tricks, and just putting them to practice. So this is not an official tutorial series, it's really more of like a video diary for myself and for you guys as well. And what I'm really hoping to get out of this is to maybe perhaps exchange ideas, exchange knowledge on rigging characters in Blender, and maybe just in 3D in general. And basically just have a conversation about this kind of stuff. And the character I'm going to be rigging today is Judy Hopps, the titular character from the Disney animated film Zootopia. One of my favorite movies of the year so far, maybe even my favorite movie of this year. I haven't really seen anything else that really sort of wowed me as much as this film. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's out on Blu-ray right now. It's out on DVD. You can find it on Netflix streaming. Really good film. Story's not the best in the world, but what really sold it for me at least was were the designs of the world and the characters, and the characters themselves. You can't help but just fall in love with. They're so identifiable, even though they're a bunch of talking rabbits and foxes and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, so we're going to rig Judy Hopps today. So this video series is gonna probably take up at least it's probably gonna be at least a few hours long, at least maybe even longer. So I'm gonna try and divide this up into 30-minute segments and not go on too long. But before we get started, if you're going to follow along with me, there is one thing I would recommend you get before you do, and that is this Bone Layer Manager add-on. It might be part of Blender by default now. But if not, just go ahead and just download it. Right here. The link is you can just type in Bone Layer Manager Blender, and it's the first thing that comes up. You can also click on this right here. But yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So, as I said, we're going to be rigging Judy Hopps, and this is a model I created. It's not the best, and there's still a lot more work I need to do on it. Like I need to, fix up the belt and fix up the pouches. I also need to make a new badge because that one she's got right now is just terrible. The vest, her like little bulletproof vest, needs some work as well. Everything else is okay. The hands are okay. The feet are okay, but the face is all right. The head needs to be the geometry on the head just needs to be adjusted in a few places. Right now it's not the best either. Yeah, if I move the subsurf up, I can actually see the changes and how they affect the geometry. Anyway, but with all that said, we'll be, those are all just really accessories that really need the most work, so we're just going to ignore those for the most part and focus really just on the character's main body, as well as some of these, other things as well. So before I start adding in bones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter. I'm just going to get her geometry a little bit more ready for rigging. As you can see, like her legs are kind of spread apart right now, and they really should be more straight for when we add in those bones. Same thing with the feet. We just want everything to be straight and organized before we start adding in bones, because we want our bones to be straight and organized so there's no issues later on with how they're deforming the mesh. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and hide everything except for like the main body and the head, and I'm going to select this and go directly into edit mode, and the first thing I'm going to do is straighten out those legs. So I'm going to do that by selecting these edge loops, and then I'm going to go ahead and place my 3D cursor right here roughly, and I've got pie menus enabled on my version of Blender, so when I hit period it brings up the different points of origin, and I'm just going to select 3D cursor. So now our 3D cursor is our point of origin, so that's where our arrow is. And I'm just going to go ahead and enable proportional editing. I'm going to enable connected proportional editing, and I'm just going to go ahead and rotate that a little, those legs, just so they're just a bit straighter. And I think that's going to be good. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to median point. Go ahead and straighten this out. Let's see how that looks in solid view. Now we got some issues going on here in the crotch area, so we're going to go ahead and fix those. I'm going to turn off mirror on my clipping. I'm also going to go ahead and turn off proportional editing, and I'm just going to go ahead and move those, and I can't because they've been connected already, so that's going to make things interesting. Let's see here. What to do. Well, I guess I can use V and just rip them, yeah. Or, tell you what, another thing I can do is bring out a second window and just go ahead and switch it back to switch back my median point to the 3D cursor, and I'm going to just go ahead and keep proportional editing off for this time, and we'll just adjust the vertices where necessary. Go ahead and straighten those out like we did before. There we go. Now we can go in here and fix the geometry. There we go. Bring these in just a little bit closer, just so they're nice and evened out. Another thing we can do is just circle select these faces and just smooth them out. And that looks okay. Looks like I had a face there selected. That was weird. I don't know how that happened. Oh, that's right, and I still have clipping off, so we'll just go ahead and select those edges and just bring them in. And there we go. So the legs are pretty straight. Let's go ahead and straighten out these again. You can make it quicker by hitting Scale Z0. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and straighten out these as well. We want our geometry to be very clean. And that looks alright. Looks alright for now. Like I said, we'll make edits to the geometry where appropriate, but for right now I just want to make the changes that are going to matter the most when we start rigging. So now let's go ahead and straighten out this side a little bit. So go ahead and set your origin point back to the 3D cursor, and just go ahead and rotate those forward a bit. And I think right there is going to work. Let's go ahead and go to Edge Select and rotate. Oops. Go ahead and set it back to the origin point to that. And the shortcut for this is Control comma. When you're in Pie menu, you could also do it with Control. With Control period, you could go to the 3D cursor, but that's been changed. Whatever. Okay. So let's go ahead and rotate that and pull these back a bit. Go ahead and turn on proportional editing. It can be either connected or just regular. And just go ahead and just shape these a little bit better. When we bring back the knee pads, we'll need to shape the leg around them so that they fit on top of the leg without the geometry penetrating, without their geometries penetrating each other. Let's see how that looks. Looks okay. Alright, let's go into wireframe mode here and take a look at the body, and I'm just trying to imagine a straight shot from here up for the spine. So it looks like this could be, you know what, it looks okay, so I think we don't have to worry about it. So if I just let's see, just grab my grease pencil, make a line, And man, I love that they've so that's going to be basically our spine straight up. So yeah, I think that's going to work. But I love how they've, you know, made the grease pencil. Um, I love how they've added more to the grease pencil. I hate that they've made it so disorganized now. Like, you've got so many settings, and they're in so many different places. Well, 3, but still, it's like, what is all this stuff? You know, what am I looking at here? This is just nonsense. You know. So I draw that, and I've got this grease pencil layers, and I've got this grease pencil colors, and it's like, ugh. I mean, it's cool and all, but I wish they could, you know, just simplify this a little more. Anyway. Alright, well, anyway, it's going to go, like, right up here, and I kind of want it to curve a little bit, maybe. But I don't know if that's going to... I want to keep things straight, so we'll just go ahead with the original plan and just keep things straight. Okay. And it looks pretty straight enough, so I don't think we have too much to worry about. So, without further ado, we can get into the rigging. Oh, yeah, right, we gotta we gotta fix that stuff first. Alright, so first let's, you know, fix the feet. Bring that over. We can turn off proportional editing for this. And let's see here. And I'm going to turn on connected proportional editing for this part right here. I'm just going to go and select these verts, pull them out, and I'm hitting G, then Shift Z, so we can move these verts along the X and Y plane axes only. Shift Z cancels out the Z. Alright. Circle select a whole bunch of these. Bring those back. Okay, and we got just a few more right here, and go ahead and just bring those in, just bring these out, bring this out a bit. Let's see how that's looking. Okay. Alright, still more work we can do, but like I said, right now we're just focusing on you know, the more important stuff. Okay, yeah, that's going to work pretty well. Ugh. Man. I guess I didn't realize how bad the vest was. Okay, I can't waste my time. This is a tutorial on rigging, so that's what we're going to do. And I've only got 9 minutes left, so let's get to adding some actual bones. I like to keep my rigs on a separate layer, so just in case I need to work on them separately, I can. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this layer right here. And I also have the layers UI manager activated as well. These are just the regular layers and not just the bone layers. So let's go ahead and center everything, center our cursor. I'm going to go ahead and add in a single bone, and you can see that I had this layer renamed rig already because I actually made a video prior to this one, but it was so terrible I decided to redo it. And here we go. Now I'm going to be making 2 separate rigs. I'm going to be making one that's going to actually deform the mesh, and I'm going to make another that's going to be like all the control bones that we're actually going to animate. So we'll get to that one later, and I'll explain why I'm making 2 rigs once we get to that point. But for right now, we're just going to call this one deform rig _01. Alright, let's go over to our bone layers or armature settings, and you can see I've got the bone layer management add-on right here. When you activate, it's going to be right down here at the bottom, so just go ahead and bring it all the way up to the top. And you can see I've already named some of these layers, so we're going to have MCH for mechanism bones, I've got DEF for deformation bones, and I've got FK and IK for forward kinematics, inverse kinematics, and then I've got another one for drivers, and those are going to be bones that are going to influence the behavior, drive the behavior of other bones. So let me just rename that to driver bones just so there's no confusion. Okay, so make sure, I'm going to go ahead and hide empty for now. Just so make sure X-ray is turned on so we can actually see the armature through the mesh. I'm going to go ahead and separate my windows and go into edit mode and bring this up to right about there. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up to the top like this. Yeah, just right about to where her head meets her neck. And let's go ahead and subdivide this 3 times. So you can do that by going to W, hitting W, clicking on subdivide, and then I'm going to hit F6 and make this 3. And now I'm just going to go ahead and order this a bit better. I'm going to go ahead and hide the vest real quick. And I'm going to turn on the wireframe just so I can see where stuff is. I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to bring this up to right about there. And I'm going to bring this down to right about there. Let's see if we can bring this forward just a bit. Yep, I think that will be okay. So let's go ahead and rename some of these. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one MCH. Just call this hips for now, _01. I haven't. We'll call this one spine _01. Spine IK 01. Call this A, and A01, and I'll get to that in a second. And then this one's going to be chest _01. Okay, so mechanism bone. So these are all essentially going to be the spine is going to be made up of mechanism bones, and the chest and the hips will be deformation bones. And we'll get into the difference between those as we go along. But essentially, your deformation bones are going to do exactly what the name implies. They're going to deform the mesh. They're the ones that we're going to actually use to they actually alter the mesh. Mechanism bones are going to be bones that are going to house deformation bones and are also going to be affected by things like IK splines or FK bones or IK bones. So basically we're going to make some separate bone chains that are going to be controlled by each. So we got about 3 minutes left here, so let's go ahead and organize this. We'll do a little bit more here. I'm going to go ahead and with this bone selected, I'm going to switch the direction because we want the hips to be able to sway, like this. And for this one, let's go ahead and subdivide it. Now, how many subdivisions is going to depend on how much geometry we have between the torso, or between the hips and the chest. And right here, it's looking like I think I'm just going to go with 3. 3 is a pretty safe number. Just go ahead and hit F6 on your keyboard and just hit that once. And you can see they're already pretty much almost aligned perfectly, but you want to make sure that those are just lining up with the edge loops here. Alright, now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and change the name of these because they have been altered. So we can see we've got the first one, spine IK A01. So go ahead and with your mouse hovered over that, go ahead and hit Control C, then go to the second one and just select it and hit Control V to paste, but change the A to a B. And do the same thing here, except change that to a C. And let's go ahead and add the MCH at the beginning of these two. So we know that they're mechanism bones and we can organize them properly. Okay. So now that those are renamed, let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and make sure these are in the right places. So these are in the right places. The chest is going to be a deformation bone, as are the hips bones. So make sure that is as well a DEF. And go ahead, with that selected and that selected, let's go ahead and move those to the deformation bones layer, and you can do that by having your layers open up and then clicking on this circle right here. And they've been moved. It looks like they've disappeared, but they've simply been moved, so click on the visibility, and now they're back. Alright, it's been 30 minutes, but there's just a few more things I want to show you before we wrap it up. So let's go ahead and select the hips bones and go ahead and duplicate that, bring it over to the side, bring it down a bit to right about there's going to be good, right where there's going to be the most pinching between. Bring it down to the knee, push it forward just a little bit, and bring that down again, right where about the ankle is. And we can bring these over just a tad. You can see that the legs aren't completely straight, but the good news is they're straight enough to where we can alter the geometry just a little bit so that this lines up a little bit more. Really, I think all we would need to do is just pull these faces to the side. We'll worry about that in the next video. In the meantime, let's finish this off. Bring this one down for right here, and then bring this one forward. Let's just see how that's looking. We can go ahead and just pull that to the side a little bit. It's not going to really affect too much. And let's go ahead and rename these. Now these are going to be mechanism bones. So let's go ahead and change this to MCH. We'll call this thigh. And make this .L at the end. Let's go ahead and copy that, go over here and paste it in, change this name to shin, then this to foot, and then this to toe. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little trick. So if we select all these bones and we set, like we were doing before, if we set our pivot point to the 3D cursor, if we go ahead and duplicate this chain, and then we scale on the X, -1, popped it into the same position, but the names are all messed up. But if we hit W and click on switch, flip names, you can see that this is changed to mchthigh.r, mchshin.r, and so on and so forth. Alright, well, we're off to a pretty good start, and and make sure that these bones are on their proper layer. You know, be sure to double check. Alright, well, that's going to do it for now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. I'm going to try to keep these videos pretty regular, so at least a couple a week. And yeah, as always, you know, tell me what you think. Leave a comment in the um, leave a comment down below if you have any questions or any other tips or tricks that I'm not aware of. And yeah, that's going to do it. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.